Hey YouTube, what's up? Do you think that black women, especially brown skin and dark skinned black women, do you think that they treat dating light skinned biracial men who identify as black as if it's interracial dating or as if they're dating non-black men? Think about it for a minute. Do you think that is low key at play when it comes to brown skin, black women, but especially brown skin and dark skinned black women? Because oftentimes I personally think that when it comes to those type of unions, brown skin, dark skin women and light skin slash biracial men, I think oftentimes the women who do participate in those unions are in some aspect open to interracial dating. It may not necessarily be with a white man, but like uh, some type of interracial dating, though. You know, you know. And oftentimes, I kind of think for black women to consider light skin and biracial men as options, I think that has to be in their mind. And I think it's like that because, at times, the light skinned biracial men are kind of like othered out of blackness when convenient, you know, you know, stigmatized for being light skinned, being golden skinned, you know, and, some people playing on the, light skin is feminine and dark skin is masculine, right? And when you do have that dichotomy in your mind, you're going to always go for, like, the men are going to have to always go for women who are lighter than them, while the women will often have to go for men who are darker than them, right? But when you're open to interracial dating as a black woman, I think that dichotomy falls off to the side, you know, at least to an extent, you know. You know, oftentimes, honestly, when I hear black women saying they prefer black men, I don't think that, they are considering, the whole spectrum of blackness as, say, if a black man were to say that, you know. Um, well, you can argue that he's not considering the whole spectrum, but basically what I'm saying is, like, if a black woman, for me personally, if I hear a black woman saying that she prefers black men, I wouldn't think that she would be referring automatically to someone who looks like me. You know, I think automatically she would be referring to, brown skinned, dark skinned men, which is not necessarily true, to be fair. She could prefer, you know, all shades and all shades in between. She could, but, you know, that's kind of like just what pops into my mind when I hear that, though. And sometimes I think that, you know, the, especially the brown skinned, dark skinned women who kind of, end up in these type of relationships may low key by the community, low key be viewed as not necessarily being in an interracial relationship, but having a desire or a preference for the exotic. And as we know, black women are not allowed to have any desires, you know, pretty much have any options outside of the brown skin, dark skin man. He is the beginning, middle, and end, or he's supposed to be the beginning, middle, and end for black women, And I think some black women, the light skinned ones and the dark skinned and the in betweens, kind of like fall into this sort of thing where it's like, well, I don't want to be stigmatized. I don't want to, look like I'm, you know, desiring something that's not black, because that would mean that I'm self-hating or don't love myself, because, this guy, he's not, you know, black, even though if he was a woman, I don't think, these brown skinned, dark skinned dudes would be um, having that sort of a conversation or that sort of a mentality about it. They would probably just be like pretty gung ho about it, or just like whatever about it, you know. But yeah, I think it ultimately just speaks to light-skinned biracial men who identify as black. Sort of just speaks to kind of like where they low-key stand in the community at times, you know. And especially when you're dealing with, folks who kind of feel like, again, when you're dealing with like colorism, it's like the darker skinned people tend to have the self-esteem issues. So when it comes to the brown skinned, dark skinned men, they kind of want to make sure that they are preferred, right? Especially, seemingly, supposedly, when light skin went out, and dark skin came in, and they just putting things in place to maintain that, right? It ain't personal, it's just business, right? Because as quiet as it's kept, I think, you know when black women start exploring options outside of the brown skinned, dark skinned men, the brown skinned, dark skinned brothers, they do be feeling some type of a way about that, you know they I think, because I think, again, someone uh, with low self-esteem, and is acting a certain way, would perpetuate this type of a thing, would participate in this type of a thing, because it helps them mentally. It soothes them mentally to have, you know, themselves as the main choice, right? You know, as well. I think I may or may not have spoken on this, but already. But again, the other black women sort of feeling some type of way about black women not preferring brown skinned, dark skinned black men, too. That plays a part in it as well. But the thing is with that, though, I kind of feel like, wouldn't you, if you are a black woman who has a preference for brown skinned, dark skinned black men, why would you shame someone who doesn't have that preference? Because that would mean there's more brown skinned and dark skinned black men for you, right? And considering that black women often complain about a lack of good black men, wouldn't that be in your best interest to low key promote that? Like, yeah, go ahead over there. Go ahead over there. It just don't make no sense, you know. I don't know. I think black women sometimes are like under some type of a spell, honestly. But that's another video for another day. But until the next video, take care. Feel free to comment. Adios and goodbye for now.